Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about perimenopausal rage and how you can control it and help yourself. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. Are you in this phase at the moment? Now, it can be in the perimenopause, but it can also be during the menopause as well. When you're just in a situation where you can't control your rage, you get so angry, it can appear just suddenly out of the blue, you go totally out of control, and then afterwards you're just like, oh my goodness, what have I done? The embarrassment and everything else that goes with it can obviously cause a lot of emotional distress, both to you and those around you. So today thought I'd look at the causes and what you can do to try and help yourself. This is such an interesting subject. I find it a really fascinating one, but I need to do a little bit of the background. So once you understand why this is happening, it makes it much easier to accept it as part and parcel or a phase as you go through the perimenopause and the menopause. So we have a little gland in the brain called the amygdala, and the amygdala stores our perceptions and feelings of anger, fear, sadness. It helps us to control our aggression. It also stores memories of events and emotions that have happened in the past to prepare a response should this same dangerous or awful situation happen again. The problem here is that as our estrogen falls, the control of this gland decreases. It is like a Pandora's box. Suddenly it opens up and all these emotions come surging out, and you respond to any situation where these fears of anger and maybe sadness and aggression would normally come from. So they are released much quicker and to a much greater degree. The other thing that happens here is that we have serotonin, which is a chemical in our brain that helps to keep our mood up. It helps to keep us happy. It regulates our emotions. And very often as estrogen falls, the level of this hormone can fall as well. So here we are in a situation where we can no longer control our emotions as well, and emotions will be released really quickly. And also because we've got less serotonin, we are less happy and our moods can swing really, really quickly. So the sorts of things that can happen here is you can get drastic mood swings. You can be low 1 minute, the next minute anger just surges out of you. You can get sudden rage. So as I mentioned before, you can be all right 1 minute and the next minute you are just getting at somebody and they just don't know what's going on. What can happen here too is that emotions that we had in the past, so say for instance something happened many years ago, maybe somebody really upset you, they hurt you verbally. So that response is stored in the amygdala. So when somebody, maybe today, then says those same words, but maybe doesn't mean them in the same way. So supposing your partner or your work colleague or your friend says to you, oh, don't be silly. Your brain refers back to that first instance where you were really angry or really hurt. And you then respond in that way from the past to what's happening in the present, even though it may not have anywhere near the same impact on you. You can also become more easily irritated. You can become a lot less patient. You just maybe can't stand people anymore. You just don't want to be in the same room or the same space as people that you used to be quite happy with. There can also be other triggers too. So we know that stress can cause it. Who's not stressed, in this day and age? It can be lack of sleep, and we know that poor sleep is one of the biggest menopause symptoms. It can also be dehydration and low blood sugars. With these two, very often you may find you experience the same emotions at the same time every day, and that's usually a good clue that it's either dehydration or low blood sugar levels. Does this phase continue? This is usually a phase. It's just the imbalance between your hormones and maybe your serotonin levels. So as you go through this, as your body learns to adjust, you should find that this phase tails off and just disappears. It could also depend on all these other things I've mentioned as well, things like sleep and stress and other issues, whether they are continuing too, because they can contribute to the whole time. So what you need to do here is look at your stress, look at your sleep, look at your water and what you're eating. So that would be the first thing, is to maintain good basic emotional health and physical stability. Number two is don't suppress this. And I know that, as women, we like to think we're in control of our emotions and we don't get angry or irritated. If you're in this phase and you feel things are really getting out of hand, if you try and suppress them, it's just going to build up, because this little gland in the brain is continually worrying about what's going on at this particular minute. And if you keep suppressing all these irritations and actions from other people or situations that you're in, then it's just going to make it worse at the end of the day. What you need to do, and I know it's really difficult, is speak and discuss this with family and friends and colleagues or whoever this is affecting, because they haven't a clue what's going on. They might not know that you're in the perimenopause. They may not know what's happening to you physically or emotionally. All they are seeing is someone who used to be calm and collected suddenly going off on the deep end, and they're seeing somebody that they don't know anymore. So very often just having a talk about it, explaining that it's your hormones, it's not you, and that this is a real physical situation that's going on in your body. It's not in your head. You're not going loopy. You're not going, you're not going out of control. This is a real physical and emotional response to all the hormones that are changing in your body. Don't feel guilty, because again, if you start to feel guilty, you are going to put extra pressure on yourself, which is the one thing you don't need at this moment in time. Look for exercises where you can really let rip, things like boxercise, maybe contact sports, even things like get a tennis racket and a tennis ball and whack it against the back wall for half an hour. Anything that's going to help to get your aggression and your irritation out your system is really worth it. And exercise also produces feel-good and happy chemicals as well. If you're looking for herbs, one of the best herbs, certainly for low serotonin levels, is the herb Hypericum. But you do need to make sure that you're not on any prescribed medication, and that would include HRT and any contraceptives that you may be on. You can look at magnesium. That may be helpful just to stabilise your nervous system. Maybe even a good mid-strength vitamin B complex can sometimes be helpful. Therapies that can be very useful would be things like acupuncture and also CBT. You can look at the flower essences. I love the flower essences because they work on our emotional side rather than the physical side. So for this one, I would look at maybe mood essence, relaxing essence, or female essence. So those are the three that I would pick for this particular situation. When do you need to see your doctor? If you feel that the anger and the rage is getting out of control, if you feel that you are now physically lashing out at people, which I've had women come back and that's the stage that they have got to, which is extremely distressing for them. So if it's getting to the point when the herbs, when the self-help tips don't seem to help anymore, then this is the point where you need to see your doctor. Some doctors will prescribe antidepressants, but from feedback that we've had from women, very often these don't help because they're not looking at the hormonal action. If you are already on HRT and you're having problems with this, maybe speak to your doctor about swapping brands. If your periods are tailing off or have stopped, you could look at our menopause support. So I hope you found this one interesting. If any of you out there have experienced this, what have you done to help yourself? How have you resolved it? And really, please share these stories. They're so helpful for other women who are watching as well. And until then, I will see you next week for another edition of A Vogel Talks Menopause.